Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly wild story of urban transformation. We're looking at a city sitting right next door to New Delhi that evolved from a legendary agricultural village into an absolute modern industrial juggernaut. We're talking, of course, about the incredible evolution of Faridabad. So here's the big question, right? How does an ancient farming village, one actually tied to the epic events of the Mahabharata, become this massive, heavy, tax-generating machine? It's a huge contrast. You've got these deep, mythological, agrarian roots on one side and a sprawling modern economy on the other. To really understand this city today, well, we have to rewind the clock a few thousand years.
Section 1. The 5 Ancient Villages.
To get our bearings, we actually need to look at the Mahabharata. According to the source, Bhagwan Krishna originally asked the Kauravas for 5 specific villages on behalf of the Pandavas. And what's wild is that these aren't just mythical places lost to time. They map directly onto the modern geography around New Delhi. Check this out. First, we've got Indraprastha, the Pandava capital, which is the old fort area in New Delhi today. Then there's Swarnaprastha, which we now call Sonipat, about 40 kilometers from Delhi. A bit further out, say 70 to 80 kilometers, is Panprastha, modern-day Panipat, which actually boasts a huge refinery today. Then we have Vyagraprastha, literally the tiger's domain, which is modern Bagpat, famously the home of former Prime Minister Charan Singh. And finally, rounding out the 5, is Tilprastha, sitting right adjacent to Delhi. And yep, that's the city we know today as Faridabad.
Section 2. Tilprastha's agricultural roots. If we break down the etymology of that ancient name, it tells us exactly what this place was all about. Til translates to sesame, or sometimes mustard and wheat. Prastha simply means land, so Tilprastha literally translates to the land of sesame. The big takeaway here is that right from the very beginning of its historical record, its identity was totally agricultural. It was a prime area known for churning out sesame, mustard, and wheat.
And honestly, the geography absolutely supported this. The region sits right beside the Yamuna River, which obviously provided vital water. It's got rich alluvial soil, a semi-arid climate, and today you'll see the famous Agra Canal nearby. Plus, it marks the very beginning of the Aravalli Hills. When you combine that water access, the fertile soil, and the specific climate, well, it was the perfect recipe for a thriving agricultural domain in antiquity. It was essentially the region's breadbasket.
Section 3. Enter Sheikh Farid.
So how exactly did the land of Sisam become Faridabad? Tracing the major pivots here, we start back in the Mahabharata era with those agricultural origins of Tilprastha. Then we jump forward to the Mughal era under Jahangir, where a guy named Sheikh Farid secures the region. And then we move into 1857, where the area becomes famous for local rebellion heroes like Raja Nahar Singh.
Let's zoom in on that middle era for a second. Who was Sheikh Farid? Well, according to the source material, he was a treasurer in the court of the Mughal ruler Jahangir, and he definitely didn't come here to farm mustard. He developed the area with a very specific strategic purpose in mind. Because this land sat right on the border of the crucial Agra-Delhi highway, Sheikh Farid turned it into a military checkpoint to protect Delhi. So literally overnight, the city's identity flipped from a quiet farming village to a highly important military outpost. And, you guessed it, it was renamed Faridabad after him. But that strategic, militaristic identity didn't just end with the Mughals. The region kept producing these really formidable local figures. You have Balram Jat, who constructed Balabgarh, and his son, Raja Nahar Singh, famously fought in the 1857 rebellion. The source emphasizes that this pivot permanently marked the land as a historic home for freedom fighters. It became this bastion of resistance and strength.
Section 4. The modern industrial hub. Fast forward to today and wow, things have changed. Those ancient fields of mustard and wheat, completely gone, replaced by heavy industry. Faridabad is now a massive manufacturing center. If you look at the major players, it's famous for producing Escorts tractors and JBM buses. The whole landscape is basically dominated by metal, machinery, and assembly lines now. And the economic weight of this place? It's just staggering. When you combine Faridabad with nearby Gurugram, these two modern hubs deliver a massive 65% of the total income tax and GST for the entire state of Haryana. The rest of the state combined brings in just 35%. I mean, to put that into perspective, Haryana is a major economic force, and Faridabad sits right at the top as the number 2 contributor behind Gurugram. It's an absolute economic titan.
Section 5. The renaming void. Now, because of this incredibly layered history, the source material highlights a really interesting contemporary debate about what the city should actually be called today. Let's look at both sides impartially. On one hand, you have the current name, Faridabad. It's named after Jahangir's treasurer, representing the medieval military history. The argument presented in the source is that modern residents don't really feel a deep emotional connection to a Mughal treasurer. On the flip side, you have the ancient name, Tilprastha. This connects directly to the Mahabharata origins, one of the 5 original villages. It means land of Sisam, which reflects the deep, geographical, agricultural roots of the area itself.
Currently, there's a small area locally that is still known as Tilpat. The source material actually proposes that the Haryana government should officially expand this local name and revert the entire city back to Tilprastha. The idea here is that embracing the original name would reconnect the whole region back to its foundational mythological history from the Mahabharata era.
And that leaves us with a fascinating final question to chew on as we wrap up this explainer. How should a city's ancient history dictate its modern identity? I mean, when a place has been a mythological farming village, a vital military checkpoint, and now a heavy industry titan, how do you balance all those eras? Does renaming it Tilprastha honor its true roots, or does keeping Faridabad reflect the strategic pivot that made it what it is today? It's a debate that really forces us to think about how we value myth, history, and modern industry. Thanks so much for joining me today to explore this. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.